her son got into the car and said, "Mom, look what I got for you." It was a heart, like a red heart. And she said, "Oh, that's great, Liam. Did you have to pay for that?" "Yes, I paid with my lunch money. It was $2." And she said, "You didn't have any lunch?" "No, Mommy, you're more important to me." "I'm all right. You're more important to me. I wanted to get this for you." I start, and the
Mhm.
mother started crying, and she grabbed him from the back seat to bring him to the front seat. And she's like, "Liam, I'm gonna buy you something for lunch." And the way that's a good mom right there. That's a
Mhm.
good mom and a good son.
Welcome to Imperfect Momming. Our children are constantly looking to us for examples. The term role model doesn't quite cut it here. We are shaping their worldview with every move we make. You see, it's not in the lectures we give or moments where we're actively attempting to teach them. It's in the micro movements we make, the unconscious ways in which we navigate life. We are constantly teaching our children how to show up for themselves, their friends, their future partners, and even their future children. So, what can we do to ensure we are raising thoughtful, compassionate, self-aware human beings? We have to become them ourselves. No one is perfect, but we can all still be better, and it starts with self-healing. Let's get to it.
Welcome back to Imperfect Momming Podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Lyons, and we have a very special guest today, Sabrina Osso. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Alicia. This is so great. Thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is Sabrina Osso from Osso Safe. Feel safe where you live, learn, work, and play. I am a TEDx speaker, real estate agent, and a children's book author on creating and maintaining respect in homes, workplaces, and schools.
So needed.
Yes, yeah, I think so. We think so.
So, how, just first question is how many children's books do you have on the topic?
Just one.
Okay.
I only have one that I wrote and that I published, and I hope to do more, but for now it's just the one, and it's something that I always wanted to do, and I have a great publisher. In fact, it was another podcast host that suggested him to me, and I'm so glad she did because there's a lot of scammers out there. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know. I had no idea, and she kind of warned me, and she said, "Sabrina, call this guy. He won't steer you wrong. He's very reasonable. He'll guide you." And everything she said was on point. I was so happy with him. And yeah, and yeah, I'm so grateful because it saves a lot of the chasing and hunting and guesswork and getting taken advantage of, you know.
Absolutely. And I was just talking to my publisher before we jumped on, and she was talking about how saturated Amazon is with books right now, and that anybody who had even a sentence in their head to write a book wrote a book during the pandemic. And ChatGPT is writing a lot of books for people they're putting the book out, and it's creating a lot of saturation, and quite honestly, it's putting out a lot of junk because people aren't really reading the books that they're putting out. But the other question that I had for you was, how much of teaching respect is how much is communication involved in that, learning how to communicate?
Oh, a lot, a lot. And I'm so glad that you said that. Yes. I grew up with my household was just chaotic. I am a survivor of violence. My father beat my mother on a regular basis. My mother would beat me, so I know firsthand how difficult it is to live in that type of environment. So, communication was non-existent. It was yelling, yelling, screaming. Yelling and screaming are synonymous, but it was just levels of yelling and screaming, so it's something that you have to kind of unlearn, reprogram yourself. And in building my business, I thought long and hard about what would have helped me. What would have helped me growing up? Like what would have what would have made a difference in my life? And so I developed the Osso Safe certification for properties, and it involves the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home package. And if you think about it, Alicia, all the crimes that happen in some type of residence, in a home. Everything starts in the home. So we feel at Osso Safe, if we could get home safe, then everything else will fall into place. Schools will be safe, workplaces will be safe, movie theaters, public places, shopping malls. Um, and I said to myself, what makes a home safe? What is the ingredient, the main ingredient? One of my website developer said, well, love. And his name is Steve. I said, yes, but my father would say all the time, I love your mother. But it was his actions were the exact opposite of his words. So, yes, love if you mean it. If you,
Mhm.
and in this country, we use love a lot, right? I love the shoes. I love this cake. I love the computer. So it's very much overused. Like I'm Italian, and in Italy, they don't say that. They don't say, love is amo questo, it's more, I wish good for you.
Mm.
Ti voglio bene, which means I wish good for you. So when I was thinking about my business, what is the key ingredient in a safe household? And it's respect.
Mm.
Respect. You can disagree with your partner, you can have a disagreement, be in conflict with your kids, with your significant other, but it should never ever cross the line of abuse, not verbal, not physical, not sexual, which means the foundation of a safe household, we feel, is respect. Always, 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 always. And that has to be taught. And to go back to your question, to communicate respect, like respect is not fearful, it's not attacking, it's not violent, it's not chaotic, it's not dysfunctional, it's not abusive. It's empowerment, encouragement, freedom, choice. uh, it's all good things, so it's very important to practice respect, practice communicating that. I'm sorry, sometimes I go off on a tangent, but hopefully I answer the question. Communication is key, and it's something that we have to learn and practice.
Absolutely. I was watching a TV show, and my favorite thing to do is to, hear something that I disagree with, and then post it on Facebook and ask if people agree or disagree. Um, and the quote was, it's not a real relationship if you don't argue. And I just thought, what a sad thought process. Like disagreements, of course, like people are going to disagree. We have differing opinions, and there's a way to communicate your difference of opinion respectfully and, with compassion and with love. And but like you said, most importantly is respect. And we go on social media and we post things, and people argue, and then they start calling each other names, and like we've lost the art of communication and respectfully communicating with people. And
Right.
it's sad.
Right. Um, I don't know if the post, like maybe they meant argue in the sense of, like they didn't say fight, because I think fight is a much stronger word than argue. Maybe they did mean conflicting, like a disagreement. Maybe that's what they meant. But it's good that if you reposted it and just to ask your circle of people, your followers, and what do you think about that? Uh, and like I said, you know, uh, especially when you have kids, you're any however you have children in your life, there's going to be disagreements, there's going to be conflict, especially with your significant other. You say it's green and he or she says it's black. So, but you never say you're a piece of garbage, get out, um, you're stupid, you don't even know what you're talking. It doesn't have to get to that level at all, and in my house, it went to that level and beyond. Um, so it's something that I had to, through a lot of therapy, and we make therapy part of your residency in the products and services that we're offering in properties, uh, where my therapist would say, Sabrina, you're kind of acting like your parents, from what you're telling me, like maybe how you perceive the situation. Mm, and as soon as she would say that, Alicia, I would stop in my tracks and say, "Oh," like I stopped myself because I don't want to repeat the same mistakes and I don't want to repeat the cycle. You know, we say at Osso Safe several things, and one of them is you have one job as a survivor of violence, of abuse, and that is don't repeat the cycle. Don't make the same mistakes as your parents. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying, oh yeah, snap your fingers and everything is fixed and perfect. No, but uh, uh, there's so much abuse, there's so much violence, there's so much in the world, and you don't want to add to it. You don't want to perpetuate that. Um, and on social media, if it's not that hard to look, there's so much good on social media. Really, there's
Mm.
so much good. So I say to people when they criticize social media, you have to social media responsibly. Like you could get into your car and they say, drive responsibly, don't drink and drive, make sure you have a buddy. Same thing with, well, just about anything. You have to be responsible. You have money. Well, you have to be responsible with that money. You can't rack up credit card debt and spend all your money or someone else's money that they trusted in you. You have to do it responsibly. Same thing with social media. Yes, you have the freedom to say whatever practically and do whatever, but is that really freedom when you're infringing upon someone else's freedom where you're saying, oh, I'm going to beat you up and I'm going to do this to you? Well, that's not freedom. That's attacking.
Mm.
So you have to be responsible. There's so much positivity if you just look and you follow people and all these groups, and I have so many posts with kids. Oh, it's so great. I'm going to start crying where kids are. There was one post just recently. I'm going to try not to cry. The mother said to Liam, her son, her son got into the car and said, Mom, look what I got for you. It was a heart, like a red heart. And she said, oh, that's great, Liam. Did you have to pay for that? Yes, I paid with my lunch money. It was $2. And she said, you didn't have any lunch? No, Mommy, you're more important to me. I'm all right.
Mm.
You're more important to me. I wanted to get this for you. I start And the
Mhm.
mother started crying, and she grabbed him from the back seat to bring him to the front seat. And she's like, Liam, I'm gonna buy you something for lunch. And the way that's a good mom right there. That's a
Mhm.
good mom and a good son. And I don't know the background of that. Maybe she's a single mom. Maybe she's married and the dad works, like he travels, or I don't know, or maybe there's no dad. He's an absentee dad. But it was so moving. And that is good social media. We need that, you
Mhm.
know. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, no, I agree. There is definitely there can be positives and negatives in lots of things. And you mentioned that, the thing that is your responsibility if you grow up in an abusive home is that you don't repeat the cycle. And I like to say to people that it's not your fault what happened to you, but it is your responsibility now to heal. And it, going through trauma is sucks. And, you know, everybody has their worst trauma. And whatever that is, we need to heal from it, because that's, if we don't, then it continues unconsciously. It hurts other people unconsciously. So I love that that's something that you offer in your homes.
Yes, yes, and I'm so glad you said that. I like to think of it as also, if you don't stop the cycle, if you don't make great efforts to not repeat that cycle, then your abusers win.
Mm,
And you don't want them to win. And like, and granted, they suffered, right? They suffered, obviously, but you want to do the opposite of them, and otherwise they have a hold on your life then still, and you don't want that. That's what I mean by letting them win. Then they, like, kind of like, ah, you can't do it either. You can't do what you asked me to do or wanted me to do, where I raise you right, and uh you know I got beaten as a kid. Well, I beat you because you got to be good. And there's no need for that at all, because kids, I feel like we don't give enough credit to kids at all. That's my feeling, and which is why I developed Osso Safe and the certifications for properties. They know who make them feel safe, from teeny tiny all the way through high school. They know exactly who make them feel safe and empowered and encouraged and positive. And it's not necessarily mommy and daddy or stepmom and stepdad. We hope that's the case, but in this country alone, 15 million children witness violence in their own homes each and every year. That's just the ones that we know about, just in the US alone. That is awful, awful. So that means that there are 15 million parents that are abusive, right? 50 million kids, you have at least one parent that is abusive towards them. So that's inexcusable, unacceptable. And I like what you said. It's not your fault what happened to you, but it is your responsibility to stop the cycle and to heal. I agree with you 100%.
and I was working for the U.S. Attorney's Office during the pandemic, and there was the reality that a lot of children, that their safe place is at school, and we've just made them shelter in place with their abusers. And just because we're not sheltered in place anymore doesn't mean that the abuse has stopped. And that it's like, I'm truly grateful for organizations like yours that are making an effort to do something about it.
Yes, yes. One thing that COVID did was, I think, put that on the front burner where homes need to be safe. They need to be safe. You shouldn't have to run away from home or use work or school as a distraction, or, oh, well, I have this game and this activity because you're trying to avoid your abusive parents, abusive step parents, or whatever your home situation is. That should not be the norm. You should want to go home, put that key in the lock, and feel like you can exhale. It's your sanctuary. It's the place where you feel safe and respected. But for so many of us, that's not the case, which is why Osso Safe is not a charity. It's not a nonprofit. And because we feel that we respect all of the charities and nonprofit that deal with domestic violence. We don't even like to call it domestic violence. We prefer to say home violence. It's more inclusive. But we feel that this needs to be a paid service where we're saying to property owners, property managers, get your property Osso Safe certified. What does that mean? They purchase the Osso Safe Home Sweet Home package, and the package consists of a policy, the seminar, an app, and therapists assigned to the property. So all of these components working together makes for an Osso Safe certified property. Our logo gets placed outside of the property, and we have the mechanisms and systems in place if and when violence occurs. And children, Alicia, are at the core of what we do. We are giving voice and choice to kids to speak out if they're not safe at home. And we realize they could lie, right? They could lie. No, 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 Sabrina, I'm also safe. We're safe at home. I'm safe with mommy and daddy. I'm safe with my stepmom and stepdad. But we know at Also Safe that abusive parents, abusive step parents can only keep their poker face on for so long. Those abusive true colors come out pretty quickly. It may take a month, a couple of weeks, a couple of days, even a couple of hours. So we educate kids with our children's book, and I could get into that more a little bit later, but our children's book is a staple in all Also Safe certified properties where we're giving kids voice and choice to speak out on behalf of their own abuse, whether they're safe at home or not safe at home. We're saying all of you are also safe kids. But if you're not safe at home, we are encouraging them to say the Osso Safe Kids cheer. And it goes like this. I want to live where I am Osso Safe, and I am Osso Safe with. Say who that is, kids. Is it an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a close family friend? And we'll get you to that person. But you have to speak out. You have to speak up. We're encouraging them. Don't go home. If home is not safe, stay at school. Call the police yourself. You need to have agency over your life. We do not wait until they are 18 years of age because, quite frankly, it's too late. Kids will resort to drugs, alcohol, gang-related activity. They will get involved with the wrong people to continue the cycle of abuse. They will self-harm or ultimately commit suicide. Why? When you can nip it in the bud early on. Like I said, kids know who make them feel safe. So we need to believe them. We need to honor what they're saying and really listen to them and allow them to have agency over their lives where, you know what, I'm safe with auntie, I'm safe with uncle, I'm safe with grandma, grandpa. And let that happen, encourage that. So this is what we're teaching, and resolving it right in real estate, right in your home, right in the home. Whether you live in an apartment, a townhouse, a co-op, a multifamily dwelling, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, thank you for echoing that.
I love the mission for sure. Is there a piece of advice that you want to share with moms listening?
Yes, a couple of things. I know it's hard being a good mom, a good mom. It's easy to be a bad mom. I feel like, moms and dads, uh, they will, uh, if you are a good test, if you're doing it right, is that your kids tell you that mom, you're doing a good job. Really take that to heart, because kids don't lie typically. Yes, I want to say fib, not lie, but if they tell you, thank you for being a good mom, really take that to heart and continue doing what you're doing. Um, I want to say to mothers that uh, if you come from violence and you're breaking the cycle, I applaud you. We applaud you so much at Osso Safe. We need you. Keep up the good work. We know that it's hard. We know that it's easy to continue the cycle. So the fact that you are consciously making an effort to not repeat the same mistakes, for example, you take your child to a store and the kid is going to have a tantrum. But you have that conversation with your child beforehand and say, look, little Timmy, little Sally, I can't afford to buy you 5 things. I can only afford to buy you one thing. We're not going to scream and yell. I would like to buy you more things, but I can't. Mommy can't afford it. So we're going to not scream and yell, and let's pretend that you're the mommy and I'm going to be you. So let's see how we're going to act. So things like that. I love it when mothers and fathers, for that matter, take the time to do that, because I have to tell you, I would get smacked all over the place. I mean, my mother would just, you know, uh, beat me, and just because, I don't know, it could have been anything. So when I see mothers and they make that effort to really be patient and understanding, and really understand where their kid is coming from, I applaud them. The ones on your podcast that are listening. I also want to say, I just wrote down a couple of things. It is very important that you are in a good relationship with your partner. Very important. I mean, I hope that mothers know. I remember growing up, I wish like my mother would understand, and she never understood this, that I always wanted good for her. I wanted her to be happy. It's very important that your kids see you happy. So whether it be taking a bubble bath, or going out with a friend, or uh, um, reading a book for yourself, or whatever it is, and being good to yourself and being good with your partner, that good relationship, working out anything that needs to be worked out, where you're not screaming and yelling, you're not hitting each other, none of that is going on. Kids want to see you in a good relationship. It gives them so much joy, and you're the example that I want that for me too when I grow up. When I have boyfriends and girlfriends, I want what mommy has with daddy, or with boyfriend or girl, whatever the case may be. So, and practicing respect it is indeed a practice, for yourself and your kids. Did I give enough examples? I hope I
Absolutely.
did.
Yeah. No, I agree with everything you said, and the the two things that really kind of hit home were, your kids need to see you happy as a mom, and that kids don't lie. I'm reminding myself that came up today in a coaching call that I had, that the mom said it was hard to um, to believe her daughter when she says, "You're the best mommy ever." And it reminds me of one of my favorite memes is if a man says that you're ugly, it's, he's just being a jerk. And if a woman says you're ugly, then she's jealous. But if a kid says that you're ugly, because kids don't lie.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I like that. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Or, um, uh, yes. Thank you for echoing that. And oh, that's so great. See, yeah. That's so great that the example that you gave. Yeah. That means you're doing a good job. So well, keep it up. Keep it up. Especially, see, if you lay the foundation when they're teeny tiny, you know, in the formative years from zero, what is it, 0 to 8 years old,
Mhm.
then when your kids hit their teen years, it'll be a little easier or somewhat easier because you laid that foundation and talk to them about sex, about like tell them, look, when you get bigger and you have boyfriends and girlfriends, nobody should hit you, nobody should choke you, nobody should touch you in a yucky way. Have those conversations right when they're 2 years old. And it's like
Mhm.
introducing them to the sex talk, but in a very basic way, like something I would say all the time uh, to kids is um, uh, when you get bigger and you have boyfriends and girlfriends, they have to be good to you and you have to be good to them. If they're not good to you, then you say bye bye. And they get that. Like you got to leave. Like they have to be good to you. And you give examples of what's not being good. Well, like I said, if they pull your hair or if they push you or they say that you are yucky or and it makes you feel bad and well, that's not good, and then contrary to that, like a good relationship, somebody that makes you feel good is if they say to you, I really like it when you read to me, or and they listen to you and they don't judge you. And so you give examples of both, to your kids. That way they understand, okay, kind of like good touch, good relationship, bad relationship, even friendships that could go for friendships too. You want your kids to have good friends. So if you lay that foundation and you don't wait until their teen years to have the sex talk, well, it's a little too late. Oh, I don't want to say too late. It's never too late, but they already are listening to their friends and things are getting into their head. But if you lay that foundation, they'll know, oh, pornography? No, that's not good. Or I know what that is. My mom and dad told me about that. That's about domination and control. No way. I'm not going to get involved with that. So I think it's good to for both the parent and the child to have those conversations early, and they'll get it. Those kids will get it.
Absolutely. Kids are smarter than we give them credit for, that's for sure.
Yes, I agree.
Is there a book that's been instrumental in your personal development journey?
Yes. Besides mine, it was very healing to write my own book. I have to say, more than I ever thought. And I'm sure you know that because you're an author yourself. But my therapist had said to me, I'm a dancer, and I could not mention dance in my house at all. I had to wait until I moved out to kind of unsteal what was stolen from me. But I am a dancer, and luckily I live close proximity to New York, so I was able to catch up on a lot of years taken from me. And my therapist said to me, Sabrina, I think a good book for you to read would be Do What You Love, The Money Will Follow
Mm.
by Marcia Sinatar. And I still have the book, and at times I refer to it, and it's one of the best books I ever read because it kind of got rid of my fear to go for it as a dancer, as an adult. You know, usually you start dancing at what, 3, 4, 2 years old, even 2, 3, 4 years old. I couldn't do that, not in my house. So yeah, she told me that, and I'm grateful for her to say that to me because it went over so many things, and that was one of them, to just get over your fear and go for it. Just, don't think that you're old, that you're too old, that, and that the money will follow. Yeah,
Sounds like a great book to pick up for sure.
yeah.
Where can our listeners find you?
Our website is ossosafe.com. We are on all the major social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. For kids, specifically, we have TikTok and YouTube, specifically for kids. We go over warning signs of abuse, what constitutes a good relationship. We speak openly about safety and respect. And our book is on Amazon and other book sites, I'm happy to say. So yeah, those would be the best ways to contact us.
Perfect. Well, thank you for being here on the podcast. I greatly appreciate your time and what you're doing in the world. And you've obviously found something that you love to do, and the money is following. So, and you're changing lives in the process.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alicia. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It was great to speak to you.
Absolutely. Thank you again. And we will have another episode of Imperfect Momming for you all coming next week. And until we meet again, keep healing. Bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning in to Imperfect Momming. It's time for us to step up and realize that our power is not in trying to shape our children. Our power lies in shaping ourselves into the people we want our children to model themselves after. Don't just do it for your kids. Do it for yourself. When you become a more self-aware, compassionate, and confident person, you and everyone around you benefit. For more information about me and my work, visit alicialyons.com. That's ALYSIALYONS.com. And until we meet again, keep healing.